everybody, it's your girl, Lady Mercedes. I'm a single mom, I'm a social justice advocate, I'm a jazz and beat artist, but most of all, I'm a storyteller, and this is the first official episode of the Collisions podcast. Every time I tried to sit down and film this episode, life would interrupt me, or I'd just get in my head and start overthinking. I had the pressure of promising you a few episodes before 2025, but then it dawned on me after I prayed, if you are here, you follow the trail from Instagram. And if you've seen my Instagram, you'll know that everything I do is centered around vulnerability and imperfection. I want to say before we go any further, thank you so much for the grace to develop this project over time and to get it as refined as we possibly can get it. The discussions that we have, I want them to be compelling and I want you to learn something. I am not out here giving advice. If I share or my guests share and that informs you or teaches you something, or it's advice you can take, so be it. Do with it what you will. But I am not saying I am the end all be all at all. Just know that this is an open forum and everybody's opinion is welcome. I have an open heart and I always want to lead with love. Kindness, though, kindness is non-negotiable. So if you're in the chat, if you're posting, just make sure you keep it cute. All right, so now it's time to share my story. The big collision. It was spring 2022. I was not working the job that I'm working now. So I needed to work two jobs to kind of make ends meet. I was struggling back then, to be honest with you. So I got a little part-time job and I was working on Sundays, checking people for COVID at a children's hospital here in Seattle. And it was a really easy job, so they allowed us to be on the phone. I was on the phone with someone who I did not have any business being on the phone with, and we were having a pretty intense discussion. Anyway, so people would come up around the little bend, they would stop and get COVID checked, and then they would go on about their business. I would let them into the building. This particular day, I'm walking out while I'm on the phone with this person, and this lady is not paying attention, and she hits me as I'm walking across the breezeway, and I tore my MCL. It was horrible. It hurt real bad. It was crazy. Here I am sitting in the hospital hallway on a gurney because it's overpopulated. It's COVID time. And I can't get to my kid. I can't get to my family. So all I knew to do was pray. And the still small voice told me, this was a collision I meant for you to have. I realized that this collision interrupted a very, very harmful conversation. And also it led to a very significant change in my life. So I had to get off of work, worker comp, whatever. I was out of my income, but a mentor of mine called and said, hey, do you want to do Easter service at this weird church? And I'm like, sure, because I need the money. And not that that's why I wanted to go to church, but it was a paid gig at the time. So I show up to these people's house. It's a tiny desk situation because we're kind of hybrid. The band and the pastors were there in the room and the singers, and everybody else was on Zoom because, again, we didn't have a building at the time and it was COVID. I will say that the service went really, really well. There was a gel with the band. These people are not my chosen family, but that's neither here nor there. So after that service, the pastor calls and said, hey, do you want to keep coming back? And I said, sure. So ultimately, getting hit by this car kind of changed my trajectory. And I ended up getting hired at this weird church. I didn't go back to the other job. Everything is good. We're in good standing. But my whole life changed. I'm here sitting with you telling my story because of that one collision. And so I just want to say that I'm grateful for that. I'm in school. I'm able to do my art. I'm able to encourage you because of that injury. So Romans 8:28 says all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. And I just do my life with that in my mind. Everything happens for a reason. God is not nervous. God knows what's planned for you. And it's not always easy. Life will life you. And you just kind of have to go with the flow and trust that everything will work out fine. The most important thing I want to say is I thank God for divine collisions. So a couple of things we will talk about in the coming episodes. The things that I want to address are personal development, mental health, health and well-being, relationships and social dynamics, creativity and inspiration, career and financial freedom, social and cultural issues. That's why I said keep it cute. But anyway, so what about you? I want to hear from you. Are there collisions that you might have had? Are there bullets that you've dodged? Have you experienced a miracle? What lessons have you learned? I want this to be an interactive podcast, and I'm willing to bet that those things have happened to you, and I want to hear about them. So I want you to collide with me. So in the coming episodes, we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to share some stories, some quotes, some fashion, some music, of course. I'm going to have some guests that I've collided with in the past, and my hope is that you'll benefit from colliding with them as well. Don't forget to read the show notes because I put a few little pairings in there that will go nicely with what we've talked about today and in future episodes. Thank you so much for joining me. Be reminded that you are loved without condition, and time is a commodity that we cannot replenish. Once it's gone, it's gone. I want you to spend it wisely. Bye for now.